This is a deterioration of the future of America. When you have young Americans raised on social media and government, this is the result that we get. We need to send all these kids, we need to bring back the draft and send all these young brats to some third world country and let them work there until they decide to love America and obey our Constitution. Then we can consider letting them back into the country. And this type of language that I'm speaking right now need to be coming from the president, the vice president, and every elected official we have in our country if we have a chance of saving our country.
You know, that's really not a bad idea, Bridgette.
In recent memory, the Republican Party has never really spoken to young voters. As we know, youth voter turnout is historically one of the lowest election turnout categories, and as the saying goes, people often get more conservative with age. But that long-held wisdom might be crumbling as young people across the country get increasingly energized about politics and, more importantly, they stay that way and show up to vote that way. We saw youth-led protests rock the city of Nashville after a mass shooting that left multiple people, including children, dead. And in response to those demonstrations, the right is absolutely losing their minds. And it's not just random far-right media personalities sounding the alarm. Take a look at what the former governor of Wisconsin had to say.
The larger issue here, we've seen it particularly in Wisconsin, but across the country, is younger voters. In Wisconsin last fall, we saw about a 40-point margin that younger voters gave to the Democrats running for Senate and governor. We saw similar margins in Pennsylvania, part of the reason why you have John Fetterman in the U.S. Senate, in Arizona, in Georgia, and elsewhere. And just this week in Wisconsin, we don't yet know the numbers by age, but we do know that Dane County, which is where the University of Wisconsin's flagship campus is at, Dane County cast more ballots in the race for the Supreme Court than the largest county in the state, Milwaukee County. And in Dane County, 82% of those votes went for the radical.
Last week, Democrats scored a major victory when the Liberal candidate won a seat on the Wisconsin State Supreme Court, giving them a majority in a race that shattered spending records. Janet Protasiewicz won by 11% over her conservative opponent, which is a crazy high margin considering the bipartisan makeup of the state. Wisconsin's last two presidential elections were literally decided by less than a single point. So it's clear that Republicans are terrified of this growth in electoral participation among youth voters, specifically members of Gen Z. And even if I were to put myself in the place of a Republican consultant figuring out how to get more youth on their side, I wouldn't know what to advise. It's a pretty impossible task because Gen Z is laser focused not on messaging, but on policy. Abortion is the #1 issue young voters care about, and when you are the party that struck down Roe versus Wade, you basically don't stand a chance of winning very many votes. Other issues like gun control and climate change are also substantive issues that young voters have very black and white opinions on, and there really isn't anything the right can do to tame those passions, aside from amend their policy stances. That's why their only solution is literally sending kids off to war, because then they certainly won't have to change their positions. If you want to see more of my coverage on The Breakdown, stay right here. You can watch my latest video on Trump supporters abandoning the Donald in his time of need by clicking on the link in the description box below. Thanks so much for watching. You can follow me on all platforms at Caro Johnson 917.